Okay, this is the unboxing video of the brakes I got from BrakeMotive for my '07 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. Here's the rears. They come with kinetic ceramic brake pads. Z16 ceramics. And overall, they seem to be a fairly high quality. I'll pause this and get it all unboxed. I also picked up the fronts. I'm going to be doing all four corners, and we'll see how everything goes together. Okay, here's another view of the rotors. Here's the rear, here's the back side of the rear, and they look to be made out of fairly decent heavyweight material. The rears are completely machined, and here are the fronts. And again, now the fronts aren't completely machined. There's a little rough there, but I don't think that matters. And the entire thing seems to be coated. They have a decent amount of material on them. They do have the minimum thickness stamps, and the vanes look to be fairly solid. And the front pads have the clips, and of course there are the rear pads again. Okay, next up I will be doing the rear axles first. And I will continue once I've got the Jeep jacked up and have the tires off. Okay, I also just wanted to mention one of the things you want to do while the vehicle is still on the ground is to loosen your lug nuts. Break them free. Don't take them off all the way, obviously, but just break them free while the vehicle's on the ground so you have the weight of the vehicle stopping the tire from moving. I'll be jacking up the back and pulling the tires off, and we'll get a shot of what my current pads and rotors look like. For me it'll be a few minutes, for you it'll be mere moments. Okay, I just wanted to give a quick look at how I decide to support the vehicle. I get the tires so they're just off the ground. I have a jack stand under each axle tube, and I lower the jack so the weight's on the stands, and then bring the jack back up so it's just on the differential, just as an added precaution. And of course, remember to take your jack handle out so you're not tripping over it. I'll get the wheels off now and we'll take a look at the rotors. Sounds good. Okay, and I thought I'd do a couple of before shots. Here's with the OEM rotor on it. Got the lug nuts off this side, but wanted to get a before shot with the wheel on. So here's the driver's side rear, and here is the driver's side front. So now we'll have something to look at for the after shots, you know, comparison and such. Okay, here is the passenger side rear. Little grooved up. I still have a lot of material, but seeing that I was getting grinding noises, I just did not know how I wanted to go with it. And the more I thought about it, the more I decided it just made more sense to do pads and rotors rather than turning the originals. We'll see how that plan works out. So again, passenger side rear, and driver's side rear. You know, same thing, plenty of material left, but seeing that I was going to do the pads, I just decided to do everything. And I will be back with a disassembly, reassembly on one of the sides. Okay, so what we have on the rear calipers are two 13mm bolts. I've already loosened them, and there's a top bolt. I've got a little bit of rust on mine. I'll wire brush that. A lower bolt, same thing, a little bit of rust on the end. I tend to keep the bolts separated physically, so I remember the one on my right goes on top, the one on my left goes on the bottom. Next, I will be compressing the caliper just a little. Important tip, you're going to want to loosen the cap on your brake reservoir and maybe put paper towel around it or something, so when you compress the pistons on the calipers, if you get some fluid pushed back up in there and it goes over the top, you can at least catch it with the paper towel. Brake fluid does very, very nasty things to paint, so you might want to keep that in mind. The other option, of course, would be to break the bleeder, let the brake fluid go out that way. Just be careful not to get any air into the system unless you want to bleed the brakes. I shall be back momentarily. Okay, so I have a screwdriver. Now there's a clip on these that holds the caliper in place. Compress the clip, get the screwdriver, and just, oh, my rear caliper is pretty locked up here, which is why I was changing these. So I am separating them a little, see if that's good. Again, screwdriver, push the spring down, there we go. And it just pops off, like so. Now I'm just going to set this here momentarily. You don't want to rest this by the brake hose. It can damage the hose internally. Best thing to do is get some baling wire, mechanics wire, twine, something, and just string it up to the spring or to the link assembly, whatever you're able to get onto to support the weight. I shall be back momentarily because I forgot to grab the twine. Okay, so I have some twine. Now I'm going to use my screwdriver and pop this caliper, this fun one off here. Come on. There we go. There's that one, and yeah, it is pretty much shot. I'll get some better pictures of that a little later, but yeah, not a whole lot left on that. Now, as you can see, the bottom one doesn't have a whole heck of a lot left either. So what I got some time ago is this fun little tool designed specifically for compressing these. You can use a C-clamp too, that works just fine. I just like this tool, it's very easy to use. Remember to go slowly. You want to take a look at the booter on the piston, make sure it's okay. My my caliper looks like it was almost all the way extended, and it was out there quite a ways. And as you can tell, this is popping in without any issue whatsoever. My slides are working just fine on both sides. They're moving back and forth freely, so I'm not going to mess with those. That's the kind of thing, if they're, in my opinion, if they're moving okay, leave them alone. You pop in there, you just liable to get dirt and other stuff in, and they're not the easiest thing in the world to change. I did, however, go to my local auto parts store, in this case AutoZone, and get the rear brake hardware kit. The BrakeMotive kits don't come with this. I got this because I want to replace these little metal slides on the caliper bracket. You know, it's just, I think they're better if they're clean, new and nice and clean. And I get $6, and it does both sides. You'll notice it also does come with the replacement boots if you want to do it. Me, again, I'm looking, I have no cracks in my boots, no wear, and the pins are moving just fine, so it's not an issue for me. I'm going to leave those alone. I'll continue compressing this. Then we'll try and get this caliper. We'll try and get this rotor off. It should be fun. I've never actually done one on this, and the inside of this is the parking brake, which is a drum brake. So we'll see how easy it is to pop that off, given the amount of gunk I have all the way around this. It could very well be a very fun time. And this is the driver side rear I am doing right now. And I'm just going to keep filming so I can get the process down so other people can see how this comes off. There, that is fully compressed. And that just pops right out. Handy little tool. $8 at my local Fleet and Farm. They sell them at Harbor Freight. They sell them all over the place. Well worth the $8, in my opinion. Now I got my my Sistel, my twine. It's actually really twine. Don't ask me why. Just happens to be. So I'm just going to go through one of these holes and tie it up. So then I'm just going to take this, come over on this side here, give it a couple of wraps, like so. Come over here, cut it, and this. You know, the gloves help keep your hands clean, but sometimes they get in the way. Give it a wrap. And another. There we go. Now that is supported in all the way. You can see, hopefully, now let's try this. You can see that the caliper is now fully compressed. The piston's all the way in, so that's good. Now, make sure the camera's on. There we go. As it doesn't help if you can't see what I'm doing. There. Grab my paper towels. Now, let's see. Yeah, I have read that these can be a bear. I mean, it's not seized up because I've got movement there. But it might take a bit of hammering to knock it loose. Also, some people say you can get in and pry right here, because this is the caliper bracket, so it's solid. You know, you want to be careful not to damage the splash plate, because, well, unless you're replacing it. I'm not, so I'm being careful not to damage it. And I will work on this for a little bit. I'm going to shut the camera off. I'll come back once I get it popped off, and I will let you know how that went. Okay, something I didn't know and others might not know. Pounding on the old rotor. There is a rubber seal here, which I'm taking off now, and I will clean because it's not damaged, it's just a little dirty. And it would make sense that there would be a rubber seal there because there's a drum brake in here and you want to keep the contaminants out. So good point. Mine was covered in gunk, so I didn't really see it till I started pounding, and the gunk fell away. So there's that phase. Now I'm going to continue trying to get the rotor off, and I have no choice because I don't have a mallet. I missed with my hammer and I have dinged up the old one. So yeah, moving on. Okay, so I did get it broken loose. Sorry for the camera, just trying to get it straight. The trick was, and another tip, when I work under vehicles like this, I don't put my extremities under the vehicle. Jacks and jack stands are fine, but nothing is foolproof, and I don't want to be the fool to prove that. Anyway, I did a little bit of WD-40 around the hub and around each lug nut bolt, and I pried between the brake caliper mount and the rotor, hit it with a hammer a bit, and I don't have a big pry bar, I had a screwdriver, so I used the lug wrench, which fit very well right in here, and it popped it loose. So now, let's get this off. There we go. There's the old one. Plenty of brake dust in that thing, eh? Wow. The back side's not too horrible. The front side's not too horrible. Honestly, this is probably still a serviceable rotor, but again, I figured I was replacing the pads. I was just going to do everything. Now what I want to look at while I'm in here is this parking brake, and there is still plenty of material left on those, so I am not going to be replacing those pads. I wanted to wait and see what it looked like before I decided whether I wanted to try and replace those or not. Next step is going to be to pop off the slides here. I think it's easier to get to them and do it before I put the new rotor on. So I'm just going to take my hammer and tap up. There we go. There's one and two. So I'll grab the new ones here. I'll grab a little piece of paper toweling and just wipe that off, just to get the dust out of there. There we go. Now we'll open up the package in here and grab two new ones. There we go. Two nice new ones. And they've got a rubberized coating on the inside, end stops and everything, so you know how to put it on. And it's fairly simple. I just like to go on one end, get it to the stop, and then just take the hammer in gently. It used to work. There. Tap it on, and it should lock itself into place. You want to make sure the stop's over the end on either end, so you get the full width of the run. And again, I do that just by putting in one end and pulling till I hit the stop, and then push up and tap it on. And that's that. Those are on. Now, for more fun, I'm going to get the new rotor on. I have it right over here. Okay, here's the new rotor, and I grabbed everything except my brake cleaner. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, brake cleaner, non-chlorinated. I just like to spray everything down. Watch out, don't get it in your eyes. going to take a little bit of paper towel here and just wipe this hub a little bit. Just doing that because I'm noticing I got some stuff there. Don't know that's that big of a deal because the primary mounting area here is still in pretty good shape, but it doesn't hurt to clean it. I am also going to take a little bit of anti-seize and just go right around here where the primary interface is, like so. And of course the big reason I'm doing that is next time I want to take this rotor off, it shouldn't come off quite so hard. It may, but it shouldn't. Hang on one second. I just want to, okay. Okay, so now we have a new rotor, and essentially I'm just going to gently put it on its edge and brake clean it. There we go. Just do the inside for now. And you'll notice that these, there we go, are directional. It's directional, I think, for appearance because the vane, this is a solid rotor, so no vanes. And even on the front, which are vaned, the fins are not directional. So it's more for appearance, I think, than performance. I've read a lot of reviews online. A lot of people do not like drilled rotors. They say, you know, they crack between the drills unless the rotors are cast with the holes. And that may well be true, but this thing is a daily driver. I don't off-road with it that much anymore. It doesn't rock climb, and I'm not doing 130 mile an hour to 0 stops, unless, of course, it's a an emergency. So I think it'll be fine. And the company I got these from on eBay, whose name just escaped me, it's BrakeMotive, seller BrakeMotive 76, has a 1-year warranty against cracking on the drill holes. So there is that. A lot of people have had really good luck with the seller, so I am willing to give them a chance. Some people say don't cheap out on brakes. You know, yeah, sure, they're made in China, but so are Brembos now, and almost every other major manufacturer. So I really don't have an issue with that personally. I don't think that these are any better or worse than anyone else. And the fact that they're made in an ISO 9000 compliant facility means they have to meet some standards. So I'll give them a try. Just FYI, the rotors and ceramic pads for front and rear were, I believe, $230 or $235 shipped. So that is a amazingly good price. But anyway, so the new rotor is in place. Yay! Now I will take. Oh, before I do that, we're going to take a little bit of the anti-seize lubricant. Don't want to have any gloves digging. You don't want to get this actually on the rotors. A little bit there. And a little bit there. There. That will help in the future with the caliper slide obviously. Now I am going to pull off this inside pad, and yeah, that one's pretty shot too. We'll again get a better look at those a little later. Here are the new pads. They are Power Stop brand Z16 ceramics. So open these things up. Plenty of material there. Doesn't look too bad to me. Has the spring. It does have a anti-vibration pad, but because I am paranoid, I am going to also put a bit of anti-vibration brake quiet on the back. Permatex disc brake quiet. Now theoretically this stuff, and you could use this stuff too. My understanding is that the formulas are very similar, but I decided I would just rather get something that is specifically designed for disc brake quiet. A lot of people have said they don't have any issue with that with these pads, and that's great, but you know, I've got the whole thing apart. Why not take the extra minute and just get some on there? You know what I mean? So there that goes. Whoa, on my pants. And apparently we just spread it out like so. If you get any on the pad, wipe it off as quickly as you can. Well, I'll just set that face down. I've got a little clean plastic tray over there for that kind of stuff. Let's grab this. Close this in. I probably should have mixed this prior. The instructions I didn't see where it said to, but it looks like there is some settling or something here, so I'll just take a second and do that. Put this back over here and just see what comes up now. Oh yeah, that was definitely the way to do it. So good tip there. Mix the stuff up and then apply it. And from what I've read, you want to be sure to get the entire surface. Actually, we're only really concerned with where it touches other parts, but, you know, I would rather be thorough than not. Now, I'm just going to take this and insert it. Maybe. Okay, so one of the advantages of using sisal is it's got a relatively low, stretch point, so it's pretty easy to undo. Now bring this around, set it on here, there. And I did that just so I can get a better view of what I'm doing. Well, I'm starting to wonder if I should have put some lubricant inside the opening here. Wow, that is solid. Set that down. I mean, obviously you want to be careful not to. I'm just going to wipe a relatively clean finger in here and make sure. No, that looks good. These springs are just tough, which I suppose is a good thing. There. And another reason to wear gloves. This anti-seize lubricant is pretty sticky stuff, and if it wasn't for the gloves, it'd be all over my fingers right now, which would be unpleasant to say the least. Just about had it going, but you know what? I have a tool specifically for compressing these things, and that's why I bought the dang thing. So let's go get that, see if that helps. Okay, so I am back with the compressing tool. Change my gloves tool. And yes, this will fit in here nicely. So, come in here, get the springs started as I did before. There we go. Springs are started. There, springs are started, and just push each of these a bit as it seems necessary. not make that easy. But apparently it also will not come out, so that's good. Okay, that pad is in all the way, and no marring to the surface. Okay, so now for the outside pad. There it is. Same theory. Take this blue gunk. Like so. Should always be sure to get some of this on your pants because that's just, you know, good for everything. And wipe it on. Everywhere that you can reach. Like so. Okay, now it is on. And this one will slide in these channels. It does have channels that it slides into to position it. Come on. There. And they pop into these holes there. Okay, so the next step is we've already lubricated our slides. So we'll just come in here, hook the bottom, like so. Make sure you get both sides. And oh, here we go. Yeah, you're going to make sure your slide bolts are actually, there we go, in the right position. There. There we go. And they want to pop out. Remember that. There. And that pops up. That side is on. Now, again, for me, I do right is top. And you can, oops, dropped it. No big deal. Put a touch of anti-seize on those too. I need to go grab the 13mm wrench. Be right back. Okay, I got the wrench. Now I am going to put just a touch of anti-seize on these pins, although they don't, you know, I'm of two minds. I did brush them a little, they didn't come all that clean. Just a wee touch on the thread. There and there. Okay. Toward the bottom, there and there. And I will be back once the bolts are tight, and we're going to remember, gotta wipe this off and reinstall this because that is important. In fact, wiping it off with a paper towel, getting the grime off of it, and sliding it on like so, and there it went. Take two. Slide it on. There we go. And it seats and gets held in place. Okay, now I shall be back once these bolts are tight. Okay, so the caliper is bolted on, and I am just going to hit that with a little bit of brake clean. And there we go. That is the driver's side rear complete. Now we will move on to the passenger side front. Let's get a better view of what this looks like. There we go. And of course I'll get a view of it once the wheel's on too. But doesn't look too shabby. Okay, so here is a rear with the wheel on. Not bad. And here were the original pads. Not a whole lot of material left on that. That was the inboard. And this was the outboard pad again. Not a lot of material left there. That would explain the grinding noise. Now I'm going to move on to the passenger side. Okay, passenger side. I've already taken off the caliper and compressed the pad as we did on the other side. So that much is done. I sprayed this with some WD-40 about half an hour ago. And with any luck, using the bigger bar here, this should just pop off a little more easily. Let's hope. Oh, same mistake I made last time. Let's not forget that there is a rubber seal here. So, just run all the way around the lip gently to get some debris free so it can come off easier. Because something tells me that, yeah, it won't come off with that seal on. So, don't want to damage it. So we'll just pop in the screwdriver. You get behind it, it'll pop up and come right off with no damage. And I'm just going to take and wipe it off thoroughly. And hopefully this is all getting in frame, but I can catch stuff in editing. So there we go, that's clean and set off to the side. Now back to this. Okay, hammer time. I will come back. Okay, a little bit of hammering, prying right here. You get a good bite. And it pops off after a few minutes this time. And there we go. Old rotor is off. Again, plenty of meat, not in horrible shape, but I figured I'd just replace it all. Now, that's off. You can see the WD-40 certainly did its job in here. I will wipe that off, and plenty of pad left on the parking brake, so don't need to worry about replacing that. My old friend brake cleaner here. And you don't need to be cheap with brake cleaner. I mean, they surely give you plenty in the can. If it looks like I'm not putting a lot on, it's honestly, this is not that bad. It's just not that dirty. So, okay, got the area sprayed down. Doesn't look too bad. A little bit of rust, obviously, but then again, it's not new. So, I am now going to replace the little metal slides here. Again, me and my trusty friend the hammer. Pop them off. Just like so. Old ones. Then take a little bit of paper toweling. There we go. Or shop rag or whatever you have. Just wipe off the dust and debris. Like so. And get your replacements. And again, my slides are fine on this too. They move back and forth freely. The boots are fine, so I am not replacing those. So essentially, I got it just for these, but I think it's worth it. You know, it's $5 to ensure that, you know, the calipers and pads move freely. I don't think that's a waste. So again, I just put it in, pull on it till it stops, so you know you're up against that stop. Push down, take a hammer, and it's in place. Easy peasy. Same thing on the upper. There, it's in place. Push up, and there we go. Those are done. Now, do it a little differently this time. Think ahead, and I am going to get the anti-seize on here before I put the rotor on. Then I don't have to worry about getting it on the rotor. There we go. In there. And on this again. Just like so. Now, I can grab the new rotor, which is right here. Set it down. Get a plastic and brake clean here. Spin it. And we're on. There we go. Not bad. Now, come over here. Now, what I can do is just put this on right now. It's not that hard. You just roll it into place. And once you push it back, it sits in the groove and will help keep the rotor in place a little bit while you're moving stuff around here. So let's grab this. Go like so. Get it off of here. So, okay, and again, both of these move freely, so that's a good sign. I'm going to grab my caliper compression tool here. First I'm going to spin it out. It looks like after I did the other side, this piston popped out a hair. No big deal. Yep, now we're back in. Let's just rest it there for a minute. Alright, there. Just want to spin this out so it's ready to go. Okay, now get the inside pad, get the disc brake quiet. There we go. Like so. And spread it around. Okay. There. So, got that. Wipe off the excess because in a few seconds this stuff gets pretty tacky, which is what it's supposed to do. So now that we've got that off, I'll come in here, pop this old hat off, like so. That boot looks just dandy. Come in here and just wipe with my finger. Now, take this and go like so. And I'm going to scoot forward a little bit. And bring this up and twist it inside here. You know, you guys can't probably see that very well, but limited facilities. There. And what I'm trying to do is just get it far enough in so I can get the clamp on it. Whoops. And clamp it the rest of the way down. Clamp is on. Same thing I did on the other side, besides bending this around a little more, is I'm just going to come in on all of these springs and just push them in a little as I spin it down. I think that helps from deforming them. Okay, and it's in. Really, this tool worth $8. And it's in, and no damage. Gotta like that. Okay, so I'm gonna set this right there. You notice it's not pulling on the hose, so that's okay. And grab the last of the rear pads. There we go. Okay, that's good. Now, take the excess of that off, like so. And same as the other side, it goes in, it stops in the holes, goes on one way only, like so. Find the slots, and just push. And it will stop when it's in position, like it did. Now when we go to put this on, which we're doing right now, why wait? We'll come in like so, there. Now, need to get the bottom in first. There we go. There's some slides we need to push over. There. Same thing on the top. Okay, we'll wait a minute. Okay, so that one, the bottom's in, the top's not popping on, so let's see if we can't get a good look at it and figure out why. Okay, the pin's over far enough, so that's not it. That's good. Oh, bottom pad's out of position a little. Yep, that was it. That will do it every time. So, push that back in. Push that in. There we go. Yep. Okay, so we're good there. Now when I did this, this little line came off. It's clipped to the brake hose. You can just go ahead and pop it right back on, like so. Okay, now you get the bolts on. Same thing here. I'm just going to touch them with the anti-seize. As soon as I find the anti-seize. Oh, knocked it over. Okay. A little there, and a touch there. And top bolt. there, push there. Bottom bolt, and I will be back once these are screwed in. Okay, so this is, come on, there we go. This is the rear passenger side installed. Not bad looking. And here were the pads. Again, not a whole heck of a lot left on those. Less than not a lot left on that one. That would be metal to metal. So yeah, they needed to be changed. I shall be moving on to the front shortly. I will be back once I get it jacked up and get the tires off. Okay, just a quick update, bit of a delay, although you won't notice it if I edit it correctly. My jack was leaking, so I had to go exchange it. Fortunately, I just bought it today, so it was a simple exchange. Yeah, good tip there. Pay attention to oil leaks on floor jacks. I will get the Jeep jacked up and get the tires off, and we will proceed. Okay. Okay, it's a little dark now. Evening is hit and such, and I don't have great lighting to show you too much of the fronts. I have the tires off. The calipers and the caliper mounting brackets are separate. To replace the pads only and just take the calipers off, those are 14mm bolts. The caliper mounting bracket is a bit bigger, and I will be taking that off shortly. Pardon me. And I will just go through and probably do just short segments on what I'm seeing, and we'll go from there. Right now I just took the caliper bolts off. I'm about to pop the caliper off. The reason the reason I am taking the caliper off separately from and not just taking the caliper mount and caliper off is a little bit of light here, a little too much light. Okay, at the top of the caliper there is a little metal bracket. Hang on. There's a metal bracket here and here, a little slide area, and I want to replace those. Now you can do it without taking the whole thing apart, but you got to get pliers and pull stuff and push stuff, and I think it may just be easier to take the caliper off, pop those out, pop them back into the caliper mounting bracket separately. And if it doesn't seem all that easy, I'll try it the other way on the other side. I will be back in a bit. Okay, so I've got the front rotors on. I know I didn't video hardly any of the changing of this, only because it was so dark in here, unfortunately. A couple of things. Wait for this to adjust, hopefully it will. Okay, the caliper, you're going to want to take the bracket off of the steering knuckle, and that's a 13/16 socket. The caliper pins here are 14mm, so that's a nice thing. This is the passenger side. And we've got the driver's side here. I can get a little light on this one. Reason I came over. So, I mean, they're not bad looking at all. Again, caliper pins there are 14mm, and the caliper bracket to steering knuckles are 13/16. Again, I replaced the tin on this one. I also replaced all of the rubber components on the caliper pins. They weren't in horrible shape, but those I wanted to change. Got the new pads on, obviously. I used Permex Brake Quiet on the backs. I know everyone says stainless, or pardon me, not stainless. The ceramics don't squeal as much, but why take the chance, I figure. Another little thing to know on your Grand Cherokee, if you're looking at doing that, the rubber O-ring is on all four wheels. You can see it there around the hub, between the hub and the rotor. There is a little rubber O-ring, and that's on all four wheels. If you don't take that off, it will make it very difficult to get the rotor off, speaking from experience. So there's that. I'll get the wheels on. Now with the calipers, I found it easiest to take the bracket off the steering knuckle, pull a cylinder and the mounting bracket together. Then I separated them, and that made it a lot easier to change the tin components and actually get the pads mounted into the caliper mount, because the pads on the front don't mount to the caliper. They mount to the caliper mount, so it's a little different. The BrakeMotive pads had a wear indicator. The pads that were on this didn't. I don't know if factory pads do or don't. The wear indicator goes on the piston side of the caliper. And I'll get the tires on, shoot a little bit of video for that, and then I am off to do the bedding procedure. Okay, and this is what we have on the front passenger with the rotor installed. Now I am going to go do the bedding process. And the other side, and as you'll notice, it's a dark puddle under there, but I did have some brake fluid escape, but it should be good. Okay, just got done with the bedding process, and it's a little too dark to see. Okay, so daylight again, you can get a view. This is after I did the bedding procedure. There's one of the fronts, and one of the rears. You can certainly see, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I can see where the pads made contact. And okay, for the bedding procedure, there are several different processes listed. I decided to go with the 50 miles an hour to 10 miles an hour aggressive braking 5 times in a row without letting the brakes cool, and then 40 down to 5 miles an hour 3 times in a row using light to moderate braking, and then go for a 5 to 10 minute drive without braking, or braking as little as possible to let the brakes cool. And I certainly did smell the resin that they talked about, so hopefully I bedded them correctly. And I believe that is the end of this project. Thanks for watching, and everyone have a great day.